I'm Eric Archer, and welcome to 1623 Studios' Rockport Candidates for Selectmen Forum. This year's election will be held on Tuesday, May 15th. 1623 Studios invited all the candidates on this year's ballot to record a statement of up to 4 minutes for this forum. The candidate statements are shown in ballot order. The 7 candidates for 2 seats on the Board of Selectmen are Sarah J. Wilkinson, David F. Dwinell, Ruth C. George, Walter R. Hess, John P. Penaloza, Michael Paulison, and Michael V. Roskowski, Jr. Here now is candidate for re-election for Selectman Sarah J. Wilkinson.
Hello, Rockport friends. For those of you who don't know me, I grew up in Rockport with my parents and 3 siblings. I got interested in local government at a young age, tagging along with my father to meetings. He passed away in 1997, but my parents had taught me the importance of community involvement, and that if you love where you live, it's important to personally work hard to make it a better place no matter how old you are. I was first elected to the Board of Selectmen in 2006 and have been elected chairwoman 4 times. I have been a member of the Capital Improvement Planning Committee, a liaison to the School Committee, Finance Committee, Police Department, Department of Public Works, and Council on Aging, among others. I have served on the board with several talented, hardworking residents. Just a few of our accomplishments include a consistently low tax rate. For fiscal year 2018, Rockport has the lowest property tax rate of all 34 communities in Essex County. In the last few years, we have sold several tax title lots, bringing in over $1 million that can be used by the town for affordable housing or to purchase land. We have worked with the superintendent, school committee, and police chief to fully fund a school resource officer to be full-time at the school complex. In 2013, we renewed the Long Beach land leases, bringing the rental rates close to market value and increasing the rental revenues to over $1 million annually. We have cut costs and increased efficiencies for town services, for example, merging our veteran services with Gloucester. We have supported and worked hard to increase cultural activities such as Motif No. 1 Day, Harvest Fest, and Music at the Beach. We have accomplished a great deal, but there is always more work to be done. My priorities for the next 3 years include continuing to build a strong school system in Rockport that we can proudly send our kids to. A strong school system creates a strong community. One way we are doing this is to increase school enrollment. We have recently partnered with the School Committee and Planning Board to increase our stock of moderate affordable housing. We need to attract young, local, professional families. Second priority is working with state and federal government to invest in our coastal infrastructure. Third is supporting our local businesses so they can be successful and sustainable all year. And fourth is looking to create new funding routes. I'm excited to work with our new grant writer on all grant opportunities that may be available. I currently own my own bookkeeping and property management business. I am a member of many local organizations, including the PTO. My husband, Greg, and I live on Highview Road with our 2 sons, who both attend Rockport Elementary School. We love Rockport, and I have spent 11 years working hard to make it a great place to both live and visit. There isn't a day that goes by that we take for granted getting to live here. I have absolutely loved my work as a selectman. I've had the honor of working with the most talented and hardworking town employees and volunteers. As chairperson, I have required volunteers and employees to be reasonable and respectful. We can disagree on policy and strategy, but as long as we do it reasonably and respectfully, we can be successful. In the next few years, we will have several difficult topics to tackle, but if we tackle them together as a town, we can get a lot accomplished. If you have any questions or ideas or comments on my views, please reach out and call, text, or email me. Thank you, and I ask for your support on May 15th.
That was candidate for re-election for Selectman Sarah Wilkinson. Here now is candidate for Selectman David F. Dwinell.
I am David Dwinell. I am a candidate for Rockport Selectmen. My wife and I have lived in Rockport for over 30 years. In that time, we have seen many changes within the town. The character of the town and landscape of the town is being altered as large homes are being constructed. They are There are empty businesses in downtown areas. Some long-standing businesses are being converted to residential use. The effects of global warming are seen on our beaches and their supporting walls. There is an ongoing discussion about permitting pot shops. Change is inevitable, but have we all been a part of that process? The majority of our citizens are over 60 and retired. We have an outstanding school system which is losing students. There are differences of opinion between business concerns and those of residents. The benefits of tourism are not always clear to residents seeking a parking place at the post office on a busy summer's morning. I am for balance and communication among us all. There is a need for more communication between residents and our Board of Selectmen. Several minutes at the beginning of each meeting does not seem enough. I suggest monthly listening sessions by the board. One selectman could host each month's discussion. As citizens, we have an obligation to bring our concerns forward. We are a town of volunteers. People give of their time and passion to help us. The committees and the members that I have observed are exceptional in their knowledge and devotion. However, there needs to be greater communication between and among all committees. I support the school system, and I support the importance of increasing our school-age population so that we may continue our academic excellence. I support our DPW department and the landfill. The recent adoption of pay-as-you-throw seems the fairest system. It certainly encourages recycling, which benefits us all. Massachusetts voters have voted to legalize marijuana. I voted for this. However, I do not support the presence of a pot shop in Rockport. There are difficult demands placed on our tax dollars because of state and federal mandates. We must find a balance for the needs of all our citizens. Retirees, families with school-age children, working people, business owners, all of our residents must find a place at the table. I hope you will vote for me for selectman on May 15th. Together, we can make a difference.
That was candidate for selectman David Dwinell. Here now is candidate for selectman Ruth C. George.
I want to thank the cable TV station for giving me this opportunity to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about myself and why I am running for one of the 2 open seats on the Rockport Board of Selectmen. I'm a lifelong resident of Rockport and homeowner. I graduated from Rockport Public Schools in 1968. I graduated from Boston University School of Nursing and worked as an emergency department RN and manager for 44 years, retiring 3 years ago. My family all live in Rockport, and I currently have 3 nieces and nephews in the Rockport schools. I have been involved in the community on multiple committees. As a lifelong resident, I have a deep love of Rockport and am proud to call this my hometown, just as I am sure you all do who live here. I have proven continued community involvement in town committees and activities representing Rockporters. I want to continue that involvement as a selectman if elected. As a long-term manager of Addison Gilbert Emergency Department, I have experience in assessing situations and making decisions. I am a listener. I am committed to all of our citizens, families, and our aging population. I am dedicated to make Rockport a continued wonderful place to live, raise a family, and retire in. We are all here in Rockport because it is a beautiful small town that is safe and community and family oriented. I never want to lose that feel of Rockport. I will work with all the department heads, volunteers, and residents, taking all of their ideas into my decision making. Our number one asset is our tremendous volunteers on our boards and committees. and involved in every aspect of Rockport. This is what truly makes Rockport a small town and family-oriented community. I am a strong supporter of our schools, students and their families, and our teachers. Our children are our future. Our pressing needs in the schools are working on increasing our enrollment by working on ways to introduce affordable housing to working Rockport families that have grown up here and want to raise their families here. Without our schools, we lose that sense of family and community that is what makes Rockport the great place it is. I am a supporter of our police, fire, DPW, and all the town departments. We need to support a financially appropriate new DPW facility for the health and safety of our workers. Remember, they are here for us all 24/7 in any town-related emergency. I support a budget that allows for the best available equipment, safety, and training for our workers. I'm concerned about climate change. It is a must that we protect our coastline and beaches for our residents. We need to work on state and federal grants as available for fixing up our Long Beach seawall. This is our beach and we must protect its wall. I'm opposed to recreational marijuana stores in town. This is a quaint, small town that has a small downtown area, and a marijuana shop is not appropriate. I am in favor of medical marijuana facilities in appropriate areas. I support the license for a start of a much-needed grocery store in town to sell beer and wine. I feel we need to go slow and let this first store get off the ground and be a success. I am the current chair of the Community Preservation Committee, and you, the townspeople, have been able to spend $9 million for town projects, half of that being state matching funds. This is what a grant writer could mean for us in the future. Increased monies brought to the town for needed infrastructure upgrades and additional projects. Thank you, and please vote on May 15th and cast one of your 2 votes for me, Ruth George.
That was candidate for Selectman Ruth George. Here now is candidate for Selectman Walter R. Hess.
Hello, my name is Wally Hess, and I'm running for Rockport Selectmen. My 40 years of management and finance experience in the private sector is very much needed as our town faces some difficult problems over the next several years. I've been a member of the Town Finance Committee for 8 years, and during that time we have significantly improved the way we work with management and organize our budgeting. As a result, I have strong working relationships with town employees and its many volunteers. Last year, we in the Finance Committee described some serious issues that face us over the next few years, and they require some hard decisions as well as tax overrides that are not pleasant. I want to help develop a strategy to find solutions for these. Let me list some of these. Number 1 is schools. The number of Rockport children attending the schools is falling at a rapid pace. In the last 10 years, it's gone from 910 to 650, and it appears that it will reach something like 500 within the next 10 years. We in the Finance Committee have recommended a professional with experience guiding other Massachusetts towns to help us develop a quality long-term solution. I have a close working relationship with Superintendent Rob Lebo. Rob and I were instrumental in constructing the arrangement between the school committee and the Finance Committee 4 years ago, and that led to a predictable amount of funding for the schools. Rob is supporting my run for selectman. Number 2 is Long Beach. It's pretty clear that Mother Nature will do us in here unless we take serious action. The town owns the seawall and the land underneath the 154 cottages. And as part of our 10-year lease renewal signed in 2013, we had an appraisal of what the town owns. It's worth $75 million. This could go a long way in helping us with our financial problems while keeping taxes under control. Although to realize that much value, we will need to deal with the seawall, which is at the end of its useful life. I'm on the Long Beach Infrastructure Committee, which was formed last summer. Our first step was to obtain a grant from the state to help us study the options. We need to reach a long-term solution and announce it soon. It's unfair to keep the tenants guessing as to what will happen at the end of their current leases. Town buildings and infrastructure is a third point. This is both a huge problem and opportunity that needs a lot of study and planning. In addition to all of our waterfront and roadway infrastructure issues, the town owns 22 buildings, plus those used to provide water and sewer service. Much planning is required to deal effectively with these. The selectmen need to take a leadership role in this. My positions on current topics are: I'm opposed to recreational marijuana stores in Rockport. I support pay-as-you-throw. We should pay for what we use, not just as we do with water and electricity. We need to balance the important task of preserving open land and building affordable and mid-priced houses to help offset our declining population. We need a better process to think through how we address issues such as changing demographics, tourism and traffic, employee health insurance, and many more items. We need to plan strategies for these instead of merely reacting. I'm willing to continue to commit significant time and effort every day because I love Rockport and I want to see it succeed. I need your vote so that I can start working on these problems.
That was candidate for Selectman Walter Hess. Here now is candidate for Selectman John P. Penaloza.
I'm John Penaloza, and I'm asking for your support in the upcoming election for Rockport's Board of Selectmen. I've been a resident of Rockport for 18 years, and I chose to raise a family here because of the amazing community that the town is. But Rockport is not immune to the economic forces that are causing social and political upheaval across our country. It just may be less obvious here, though I believe it's equally impactful. In my time here, I've seen families have to move out in search of affordable housing, and gentrification empty out wide swaths of neighborhoods that previously bustled year-round. This hollowing out of Rockport is not an inevitable trend in towns with waterfront property. It's a demographic shift that we can take steps to mitigate and even harness to create new revenue-generating opportunities, counteracting the fiscal crunch caused by the gentrification in the first place. I believe consideration of a revenue-positive residential exemption needs to be brought into the political dialogue of Rockport in this election cycle. To the best of my knowledge, I am the only selectman candidate to support its adoption. Such an exemption would allow Rockport full-time residents to pay 20% less property tax on Rockport homes they own as compared to non-full-time residents. The legality and use of residential exemptions in Massachusetts is well established, and over a dozen cities and towns, including Provincetown, Somerville, and the city of Boston itself, have used the policy successfully for years. Gentrification in Rockport is not just about the lack of middle-income housing, vital for families with school-age kids, and the resulting depopulation of our schools. It's not only about the eyesore of McMansions overcrowding our historic New England neighborhoods. There is also a large impact of an inverse economic multiplier effect, where Rockport ceases to be advantaged by the presence of a resident or a family of residents every time a Rockport neighborhood gets hollowed out by a home sale to someone with no intention of moving here. Say you have a large family home that gets bought by someone who will mostly keep it empty and spend a few weeks here in the summer. That person's water usage, for instance, is extremely low, and the water rate paid by that house would not reflect the fixed cost portion of having the town's infrastructure service that location. Now multiply that by hundreds of homes in neighborhoods all over Rockport. The lack of metered use makes that particular system less and less sustainable. Also, the typical family who left that town may have had school-aged kids at one time. Those kids and their parents' normal day-to-day activities create the demand that drives sales in all kinds of Rockport businesses and of local services. They are individuals that populate the sports teams and that are an important fixture in our recreation and health. It is they that go to the beach and march in the parades and run on motif number 1 day, and who adopt the dogs that play and go for walks with other dogs. They literally build the fabric of our everyday lives in our community. That's the essence of Rockport. Without the people that create a history of their lives here, we are a literal ghost town. If we replace those residents essentially with day visitors that spend a few weeks and then go back home, we lose something irreplaceable. It is worth everything we've got to prevent that from coming to pass. Thank you very much.
That was candidate for Selectman John Penaloza. And that was 5 of the 7 candidates for the 2 seats for the Rockport Board of Selectmen on this year's ballot. Also on the ballot are candidates for Assessor of Taxes, Planning Board, Trustee of the Public Library, School Committee, and Housing Authority. This concludes our candidates forum. Please do not forget to vote in the Rockport election on Tuesday, May 15th. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. I'm Eric Archer, and thanks for watching.